Apparently the fight of the year is here, guys, so let's get into it.
An incident that started when a black dock worker was attacked by a group of white men. Eyewitnesses say it began when a dock worker employed by the city began to try to untie and move a pontoon boat belonging to a group of white men. That pontoon boat reportedly was in the way of where the city's riverboat needed to park.
You just felt so helpless for that man. Like, there's 5 or 6 of them on him.
Multiple boaters come into frame, all attacking the worker who tries to fight back but is overpowered.
What's up, guys? It's Bad Decisions, where we watch people make
bad decisions.
It's your boy Sherm.
It's your man Jay.
All right, guys. So essentially what happened is that you had a boat carrying about 227 passengers trying to dock, and there was a private boat in its space, even though it was supposed to be reserved for the boat that had 227 passengers. So what happened is one of the dock workers was trying to speak to one of the people at the private party and explain to them that, hey, this spot is reserved, you have to leave. The people really didn't like it. They got a little hostile. So basically, one by one, each one of these people from the private party came and talked to the dock worker. Basically, the dock worker said, listen, you got to move. They didn't want to do it. So then the dock worker took things into his own hands, removed the boat, so that way the boat carrying 227 passengers will be able to actually park their boat. So basically what happened is that one of the people from the private parties, aka the punk from the private party, decided to hit one of the dock workers. The dock worker threw off his hat, and then after that it was pretty much on. And then another one of the punks came out of nowhere, decided to beat on the dock worker, and then more people kind of jumped in on that. So that's essentially what kind of caused the whole brawl. After that whole brawl happened, basically what happened is that you had some of the passengers come off the boat, and then you had some of the other dock workers jump in the fight and basically deliver them the beats. So basically, guys, this has a great episode of Jerry Springer written all over it. This is honestly a case of karma is a... I mean, you had a bunch of entitled pricks who decided to hold up 200 plus people for absolutely no reason, where all they had to do was move. In all honesty, it's not rocket science, guys. All you had to do was literally move the boat. The security guard didn't even have to explain to you why you needed to move the boat, because you weren't supposed to be there. It was reserved, but he was nice enough to explain it not only once, twice, 3 to 4 times to everybody in the party. But still, you could not handle the fact that he did not agree with you. He gave you a no, and you decided to put your hands on him anyway. Honestly, when I hear about situations like this, it just makes me so mad. Like, there's such brats for doing it. He's literally just trying to do his job. Like, they literally saw, like, there's a point in the video where the dock worker literally points out, and he's like, these are all the people that are waiting to dock because you're in the way. Have you guys ever heard that saying, like, you get what you ask for? Well, in this case, it definitely serves. You asked for a beating, and you got a very severe beating in the end. In fact, people wanted to beat you up so bad that you literally had a kid, aka Aquaman is what these people are calling him, swim from the boat all the way over to beat you up.
The 16-year-old is now being dubbed a real-life Aquaman. On social media, he is a sensation.
The guy that jumped in the water to help, they're now calling him Jamichael Phelps.
Jamichael Phelps. I heard Michael B. Phelps.
That's how bad people were mad. I think the worst part of the video, matter of fact, the best part of the video was the part where people that came off, like the passengers that came off and some of the crew members came off, and they gave you the same uneven odds that you gave the security guard or the port guard or whatever, and you couldn't handle it. Like, you ran like a bunch of cowards. And you know it's bad. Like, if you ever watch this video, guys, seriously watch the video and look at the police. The police are literally like just going like this. They're letting them beat up. The only time the police actually stepped in was when the guy with the chairs was just going ham. Like, I ain't gonna lie. The guy with the chairs was causing some ham. He had a lady with a hand with a chair. He had a dude with a chair. I think he hit one dude in the chair, and he went back underwater. I believe so. I gotta look at it again.
Listen, like I say in almost every single video that we cover that involves some type of fight or allegation or some kind of misconduct, I'll say it again. Camera phones are literally the 8th wonder of the world. Why? Because without camera phones and this being caught on video, it's very, very likely that these 3 guys that are actually started the problem could have said, hey, the dock worker attacked us first, even though they would have eyewitness accounts from 200 something people. So it'll be a hard sell. Nonetheless, it would still sow that small seed of doubt into investigators' minds to say, okay, well, maybe they didn't start it. Maybe it was started by the dock worker. So, but because of camera phones, they got exactly what they deserved, and it's all documented on video. So, sucks to be them. Now listen, time to address the elephant in the room. I'm sure if you watched any other videos on this brawl, you have already heard people's takes on whether or not they think race had anything to do with what happened. And listen, do I think that at the core race has something to do with it? Maybe. Just because the fact the dock worker was black or happened to be black and the rowdy pricks happened to be white, no matter what, your mind's gonna automatically place race into it. Not to mention that most of the passengers on the boat were black. And so when they see this dock worker who happens to be black getting attacked by these white men, in their minds are already like, oh, this is one of our own that's being attacked because he's black. So let's help him out. Hence why Black Aquaman had to dive into the water and go ham. So it's like, I can see how no matter what race is going to be brought up, and I can understand why. But if I'm being honest, at its core, I really don't think that race was the primary motivator for why they attacked the dock worker. I think at the core of it, it's just a group of rowdy, entitled assholes who decided that they weren't going to move their boat for whatever reason because they're entitled, and the whole doesn't matter who was waiting for him. I think that's what happened. I think if that dock worker had been white, he still would have got the hands from those little soft hands from that group of men. So that's what I think. Now am I saying that those guys are not racist? No, I'm not saying that. Do I think I'd be welcome at their dinner table? No, I don't think so. So don't get me wrong there. I'm just saying that I don't think the reason they attacked the dock worker is specifically because he's black. I think they attacked him because he touched their property by trying to undock their boat, and they weren't having it, even though they were in the wrong.
Now, the mayor of Montgomery is holding a news conference today, and when asked if the brawl was racially motivated, he said he could not confirm nor deny it.
All right, guys. So ultimately, I'm gonna say that I'm glad that this stayed to the fisticuffs, like, because that's one of the biggest problems I think of today is that people are just so in a rush to grab their guns and shoot people. So I'm glad it didn't go there. I'm glad the worst thing that happened is that they hit someone with a chair. I'm glad nobody drowned. I'm glad nobody died. So I'm just gonna ultimately say this was probably a bad decision. This was the worst decision that they could have made. I hope everybody who's involved in it on the private party, if they're in their business does terrible. Like, I really do. Matter of fact, there was one guy who was a part of the party who actually did have a business, and now people are writing him bad reviews because he said, oh, I wasn't in it, and then there's video evidence of him actually being in it. So ultimately, they made the worst decision. They're being selfish a-holes for absolutely no reason. All they had to do was move the boat. Shout out to the dock worker. He needs a raise because he literally got assaulted for just telling people move the boat. That's it. He didn't deserve it. He didn't deserve to get touched. He didn't deserve to get yelled at. And ultimately, I mean, it's just kind of infuriating to watch that. Like, the first scene of this is infuriating until you see the second part. Then you're like, all right, you know what? He kind of deserves a chair.
Well, not the chair part, but I agree with you that the first part was upsetting. But then after you see that all those people came to his defense, I was like, all right, it's all good. The dock worker, I'm saying. Yeah. Because he got jumped essentially by some a-holes. Yeah. But who had the last laugh? You know what I mean? Yeah. Not condoning the violence.
No, I fully condone it. Sorry. So, good decision, bad decision?
Bad decision, man. Listen, bad decision. What's up with the entitlement? What is it? You see, that's one thing I can't stand. If you see you know how it works. If you're a boat owner, I'm not. I have friends who own boats or whatever. Doesn't matter in the story, really. But the point is, if you see someone being inconvenienced and it's your little group of 5 people versus 200-something people that are waiting for you for over an hour, listen, if it's 10 minutes because you have to, like, finish up something, even that's disrespectful. But to wait and make them wait an entire 30 minutes to however long it was?
They literally saw 200+ people. That's how in my head I'm like, how do you not understand this? I mean, listen.
They don't care.
That's true. Are they probably lit? Yes, they're probably lit. But who cares? Move the boat.
Move your boat. That's it.
All right, guys. So this has been Bad Decisions. If you think that they made a bad decision, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And if you think they made a good decision, then you just might be. But like, comment, and subscribe. All right, guys. We're out.